From the moment we first met, I knew I'd have to kick your asses someday.
Hello everyone and welcome to the 9th episode in the series of things you may have missed in The Witcher 3. In this one we shall be taking a look at the enlightened city of Oxenfurt. For a while I've considered merging the interesting details in this area with the episode about Hearts of Stone, since a good portion of it does take place in Oxenfurt, but then I realized that since there's a good amount of content in here that is not at all related to the expansion, I should probably separate it into its own video. And here we are. Before we begin though, I'd like to stress that everything I talk about in here is entirely part of the main game. Any curious details that were added later on with the Hearts of Stone expansion will not be included and will indeed be part of the next episode in this series. So let's get started, shall we? Alright, number 1. You most likely know of the Rough Neighborhood quest, where while walking the street just off the port, you stumble upon a woman who's being bullied.
Want us to plough you? Is that it? Doable, but you'll have to hide that mug in a sec.
Let the woman go. Then we can flirt.
The quest I believe is only available at night, and only after previously completing the Oxenfurt drunk contract.
I sense your blood.
Come out and fight, bitch.
Okay, so back to the woman now. When you intervene to save her, she'll tell you how she can take care of herself just fine, and then you'll have the option of escorting her home or simply bidding her farewell. Now the thing you may have missed here is that sometime later, like a day or so, if you go to the ramparts of Oxenfurt behind her home, you'll be ambushed by another group of bandits trying to avenge their brethren, you know, from whom you saved the girl. And depending on her choice whether to escort her home or not, she may actually jump in and help you. So if you didn't escort her, you'll face them alone, but if you did, she shows up. The gameplay here lines up perfectly with her story because she's really strong. She nearly one-shotted everyone in my case while I was simply defending myself, and if she does appear, there's even a brief dialogue with her afterwards.
You.
Why? How many distressed damsels have you rescued of late? I believed I was special.
You actually do manage fine on your own.
One thing I've learned is that you either let the lads beat you, or you learn to beat like the lads.
So long. And, work on your guard a bit. You're dropping it too low.
I believed I was special.
You know, I could have handled that on my own too.
I don't doubt it. I merely wish to prove that we of the fairer sex can deliver a thorough thrashing as well.
So long. And, work on your guard a bit. You're dropping it too low.
He's a tossin', and the wind keeps blowing and blowing. Whoa there, ragpicker! Whoa there, ragpicker! Whoa there!
That's all I have for the first detail. Now let's move on to the next. This one is fairly small, but here in Oxenfurt, beside Radovid's ship, you can find and briefly talk to CARDUIN. He was the mage who represented the Lodge during the summit, the Conclave during the summit of Loch Muin in The Witcher 2, and he was left in a somewhat good standing with Radovid, only if you chose to save TRISS in the last act. So to get it, you either have to import the correct save from The Witcher 2, or the simpler solution would be to simulate it in The Witcher 3 and tell Ciri's future husband that you saved TRISS. To my knowledge, he does not have any further involvement, and also I can confirm that if the mages fail to escape Novigrad, he disappears. I'm not sure if that means he also died. You never know with Radovid, I guess, but it could simply be the case that he disappears after the Battle of Kaer Morhen, regardless of what happened to the mages. I would appreciate your comments if anyone can confirm or deny that.
Radovid pleased with the witch hunts?
No, and he shan't be until he sees Philippa Eilhart atop a pyre.
Your king doesn't forget easily.
Such things as she did to His Majesty are impossible to forget.
Seems to me it's a golden age for the Conclave. For mages in general, huh?
We've seen the dawn of hard times for mages. The Conclave does everything in its power to help them survive.
Is that a fact? As long as they don't mind being yoked and muzzled.
And I say, it's easy to play the hero, die a foolish death. But someone must survive, preserve our body of knowledge for future generations. You don't understand. You cannot. But sometimes it takes courage to be a coward.
Alright, time to move on to thing you may have missed number 3. And speaking of importing saves, here's something really curious that I wasn't aware of. But thanks to one of my viewers, namely Katarzyna, I'm sure you guys will correct me if I got it wrong. So she commented about an awesome detail which is only available after importing a Witcher 2 save, and cannot be accessed in any other way, not even if you simulated it. So here's the thing, in the first act of the second game, in Flotsam, at one point you can get assaulted by a group of bandits. Only after you deal with them, 2 guys will spawn nearby. If you speak to them, they'll ask you to partake in an experiment.
Here comes the Witcher. Think he'll agree?
No, I don't know. Should we just walk up and ask him like that?
Take a good look at him. He'd be ideal.
Ha! Greetings. A word, if you will.
You see, we've created an alchemical substance and we wish to test it in Vizima, in a laboratory.
Seeing as you're a witcher, we wondered if you'd be willing to test it in practice.
In a year or two, given the occasion, you could visit us in Vizima. We'd examine you and reward you generously.
We need to study its long-term effects. We can't say more.
Are you in?
Here's what happens if you agree.
Why not?
Splendid!
Excellent.
Now, if you could also keep a journal of the experiment.
Don't overdo it.
Not much, right? And that's the case until the end of the game, as far as I know. Turns out that in The Witcher 3, provided that you import the right save, where you took the potion, you will find a note somewhere around here, that's the closed university in Oxenfurt, that reveals the truth about this potion, namely that it was meant to cure infertility. Not gonna read the whole thing, you can pause the video if you wish to read it, but it basically says that they count on the fact that Geralt will sleep with lots of women, and they hired a spy to follow him around and report on whether Geralt got any of these women pregnant. Now, of course, we have no idea if it actually worked or not. I suppose Shani is the only official romance who can get pregnant, but nevertheless, it's an awesome and very rare detail, and I'd like to thank Katarzyna once again. Now, before I move on, some of you may be wondering why I don't have footage of finding this myself. The note, I mean. Well, here's the thing. I've completed The Witcher 2 4 or 5 times, and I have a million saves, which makes the whole thing a little difficult to navigate, and what's worse, I've only done this quest twice, and only once did I actually take the potion. I believe it was in my first and second walkthroughs, or my second and third walkthroughs, I'm not exactly sure. Another issue is that when I try importing a save, I only see 2 options, which I assume are my very last quick save and very last autosave, and those definitely do not have the right choice in them. So what I thought would probably work is start a new game, get to Flotsam, take the potion, quick save, and then try to import that. And I did so, but nothing happened. I'm not sure whether the incorrect quick save was imported. It may also be the fact that I imported a save on which none of the major choices were done, and perhaps it will work only after I've completed the whole game. So I don't know. Long story short is I couldn't find a way that doesn't require me to replay the whole of the second game, and if I ever do, I'll make sure to test it again and share my result. Meanwhile, if any of you have tried this, feel free to comment about your experience down below. Alright, time to go into thing you may have missed in Oxenfurt number 4. Chances are you will run into it while doing the Oxenfurt drunk contract.
Once was a maid from Vico, Varro. Tight at night she'd be loose come morrow. Early in the morning.
Where you think you're going, mucker?
And by it, I mean these two guys who try to extort money from you. The thing you may have missed about them is that after what you just saw, they can be encountered again. It happens sometime later over here, just outside of Oxenfurt. In fact, I believe you actually have to go into this particular house and they will show up as you exit.
Hey, spy. Remember us?
Ah, greedy and greedier. Ever get to drink that vodka?
Officer made us clean the latrines. 'Twas your doing.
You've got to pay for that.
You can either pay them.
Here, take this coin. Buy yourself some vodka and knock one back to my health.
Think you can buy your way out of this?
Clamp it shut. We'll take the coin.
Axie them.
About face. And back to the latrines. Get cleaning.
Yes, sir.
For glory, for Radovid.
Which actually works despite the fact that there are two people at the same place. And the third, and to me the most interesting one, is the option where you choose to fight them.
From the moment we first met, I knew I'd have to kick your asses someday.
At him!
There are several things worth mentioning here. First off, they are guard level enemies, meaning they will always be a significantly higher level than you are, and things will be difficult. The second thing, which here actually makes perfect sense, is that if they beat you, you'll get the scene where you wake up with 1 HP and you've lost some coin. However, in this particular case it makes total sense, because that's exactly what they wanted to do when they found you. And the final bit I can think of here is that normally the fight starts off with just fists, and if you finish it that way, you'll knock them out.
I hope we won't meet again.
But if you pull out your sword, they'll go for their weapons as well and you'll be forced to kill them. Much like the case was with Steingrim, if you remember from my Things Missed in Skellige video. They, however, will not kill you and will only take some money from you even if you lose after going for your sword. I think that was all I had about these guys. So moving on to the final detail. And this is another one that was revealed to me by a viewer, and not just any viewer, but a very loyal one by the name of Tierra14. It's about the Spooked Mare quest, which can be picked up by an old peasant in the outskirts of Oxenfurt. He talks about a woodland spook who allegedly took his old horse, but it turns out it was some Scoia'tael bandits. Where have I seen this before?
Trouble? Good one. We're not having trouble. We're up shit fucking creek.
Anyway, so if you return his horse to him, he pays you and the quest ends. What I wasn't aware of, and for which I have to thank Tierra, is that if you bring one of the other Scoia'tael horses, he gets even happier because the horse is apparently younger and in better shape. He even pays you some extra crowns for it.
This your mare?
Nay, not at all. She were grey, I told you. I'm twice as old, legs as crooked as me dead wife's. Suppose I got to pay you more for this young'un, but oh well.
Thanks. So long.
Another thing here, and it's probably a bug, is that if you manage to mount one of the horses in the Scoia'tael camp before they attack you, they'll actually never become aggressive and you can just take it out without any conflict. But if you approach them before you mount it, they'll be unhappy. Oh, and apparently the horses are smart, because even if you leave them some distance away from the old man, they'll find their own way to his house and even start drinking water from time to time.
Oh, see, you make quick work of it.
Okay, and with that, I think we're done. 5 things you may have missed in Oxenfurt, not counting the expansion. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, consider giving it a like, and also make sure to let me know if you've missed any of these things, or perhaps if you found something else that I haven't mentioned in here. Thank you very much for watching. Special thanks to my supporters on Patreon and YouTube members for helping make all of this possible. Alright, until the next video, stay tuned and be good.